Well, welcome back to the Pro Body Lifestyle Podcast. Today we're on episode 2, and we are going to be talking about the biggest tips that we have for any of you guys who are starting your fitness journey in 2026, or maybe you're returning to your fitness journey in 2026.
Yeah.
And honestly, these aren't really tips, but they're more the mistakes that we see most people make that take you away from actually achieving your goals. So if you avoid these mistakes that we have for you today, most likely you're going to hit your goals this year.
Before we start, guys, we just wanted to say a massive thank you for the response that we got for the podcast for our first episode. We were blown away. We were so nervous to put it out there, but so excited at the same time. And to get such a great response back, it just felt amazing seeing people reshare it, message us and tell us different points they got out of the podcast. And just seeing like the views climb as well. Most of it's us, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the year, we're going to be in our own Spotify Wrapped because I've listened to that episode so many times and I'm so giddy as I listen to it because I'm so excited. Anyway, we just wanted to thank you all and we're so, so grateful.
Yeah, we really appreciate you all, and we thank you for all of the topic suggestions you're all sending through.
Yes.
And all the questions you have, because sometimes we forget what we don't know about fitness, health, nutrition, and it's great to be reminded what your frequently asked questions are and what you need to have answered, so then we can essentially open those things up for you guys in these podcasts.
Yeah, because we're here to serve you and we want to know what you want to hear about. So hearing all of your topics that you want us to talk about, we've got a whole list ready to go. So yeah, be ready for us every Monday. We're ready to bring out a lot of podcast episodes.
Well, Mel, can you take us through the biggest mistake that you see most people make when they're first trying to start a fitness journey?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So there are a lot of mistakes that people make when they're starting their fitness journey, but we thought we'd condense it into a few key mistakes that we see like happening a lot, especially when new clients come to us. The first one is people choosing the wrong type of exercise for them and for their goals. And what I mean by that is there's no wrong type of exercise. You can do whatever you feel like doing, but you have to make sure you're choosing something not based on what your friends are doing, not based on what is really popular on social media right now. Make sure you're choosing a movement that, first of all, actually aligns and helps you reach your goals. But second of all, one that you're actually going to want to do continuously. So there's no point choosing a movement that you're doing just because your friend Bob is doing it. I don't know who Bob is, but Bob is doing it and you hate doing it. You don't want to get up in the morning and you despise doing that form of movement. Do you agree?
Yeah, you've actually got to like the type of exercise you do. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stick to it. But also, I find a lot of people, they have their goals, they set their goals, but then they choose a type of exercise that won't achieve that type of goal.
Yes.
So we have a lot of people who come to us wanting to build their glutes, for example, or they're wanting to build muscle mass. And then they start some sort of group training where they're doing more circuit-based, cardio-based activities. They're using weights, but they're not doing the weights in a way that's going to build muscle or build glutes. And then they wonder why they don't hit those goals. And it's because while they are doing circuit training, which is great, but that type of training is great for your cardio health and just all-round kind of fitness, but it's not very good at building muscle. That's where you need to do more like resistance training and follow a structured training program. Or for example, some people might do strength training, but then they're wanting to improve their blood pressure and their heart health and their cardiovascular health. And then that's where you need to actually challenge your heart. You need to do some sort of cardio that gets your heart rate up. Or people try and start walking to help with their cardio. But really, if it's not challenging your heart, then it's not cardio for you because it's not challenging your cardiovascular system.
Yeah, that's such a great point. That reminds me, like a lot of clients come to me, especially females, and they've been doing, endless years of group training and Pilates, and there's nothing wrong with those forms of like movement. But their goal is to build really strong muscle, big glutes, a nice lean back. And I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with what you've been doing. Like those are great forms of movement. However, strength training aligns with those goals. So it just comes down to what your end goal is and what's going to be the vehicle.
That was very formal.
Vehicle that gets you there. And it's just really important to think about. Like I know for myself, we've dipped our toes in, or not dipped, we've done a marathon. We've completed marathons, we've completed ultra trails, half marathons, or different things. But I always come back to strength training in the end as kind of like my essential movement, because my 100% goal at all times is to build lean muscle, not just to look good, but to feel good. And I know that getting in the gym for 45 minutes a day is going to reach that goal. And especially as I age, I want to stay strong. I want to make sure that I'm, reaching all of those goals every single year. And this is the type of movement for me personally that's going to reach that. Not running a marathon, not running a half marathon. But if your goal is to get 1,000 medals running a half marathon and to, improve your mobility at Pilates, please go do that. But make sure you're choosing something that does align with your goals.
Well, maybe we should quickly go over, for each type of goal, the main type of goals we have, what is the main type of exercise they could do to achieve those goals?
Ooh, I like this. This is kind of like a...
So I think one of the biggest goals is building muscle mass.
Yep.
Now, the type of exercise that suits that the best is usually a structured training program in the gym, doing resistance training.
Ding, 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 ding. Winner.
Right? Now, if you wanted to strengthen your heart, do cardiovascular training, what would be the best type for that?
Yeah, any type of HIIT training. So you can do some group fitness classes, which are amazing. You can go running. You can even get your heart rate up with walking. I know my form of cardio every day is walking, not just because it's good for my heart health, but it's also good for my mental health. So that's another goal right there.
And then if you want to improve on your cardiovascular fitness, like we touched on before, if walking isn't, it's great because it's getting steps in, but at a certain point, if walking is no longer challenging your heart,
yes,
then that's where you do need to increase the intensity and start to do either some sort of cardio in the form of circuit training,
yes,
or some sort of cardio in the form of interval training.
Unless you're walking with me. I walk 1,000 miles an hour. Everyone's like, Melissa, wait up. And I'm like, well, I do have long legs, but I'm on a mission. So if you're walking with me, great type of cardio.
Yeah.
If it does get easy, then it is time to, take it to the next level. Great point.
It's also one of those things too where you don't have to achieve all the goals at once.
Yeah, true.
Right? Your priority right now is not to improve your cardio. You're trying to focus more on your strength training. Because if you're trying to improve, for example, bone density, so to prevent osteoporosis as you get older, or to maintain muscle mass or increase your lean body mass to help increase your metabolism, then that's again where you can't do that doing basic kind of exercise. You need to lift heavy. You need to start doing high impact exercises to train your bones, to strengthen your bones, to strengthen your muscles. The other type of goal that I would see a lot of people have is obviously weight loss. So what would be the best way to achieve weight loss?
Honestly, I wouldn't even be thinking about movement. I'd be thinking more about their nutrition and calorie deficit. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many times do we have people come in and they're like, oh, I think I should be doing cardio to start to lose fat, right?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a point I was just thinking about with the walking that you were talking about. I'm never looking at my Garmin or Apple Watch going, oh, calories burnt, or looking at my heart rate monitor going, yes, I've burned 150 calories, now I can eat 150 calories. It has nothing to do with that. My form of cardio is based on how I'm feeling and a lot, like I said before, my mental health. But when it comes down to weight loss, a lot of people, like you said, are thinking about, oh yes, I've burned all these calories, it's going to help me lose weight. Realistically, if you want to lose weight, a lot of it comes down to nutrition, but I don't think a lot of people want to, what's the word?
They don't want to change the diet.
They don't want to admit that because exactly, it's so much easier to go for a walk than to not eat the chocolate block. So we totally understand that and we see it all the time.
Yeah, and that's why we always set 2 goals for people. So usually most of our clients, when they come in, they've got fat loss goals that they want to achieve, which you'll achieve that through a calorie deficit or through your nutrition, through the food you're eating.
Yes.
That's how you're going to lose the body fat. But then they usually have a secondary goal of trying to get stronger, build muscle mass, or maybe build your heart health. And that's where you look at the exercise forms, because all types of exercise are going to burn calories.
Yes.
But the secondary benefit you have of exercise will be, what does it strengthen? So strength training, resistance training, lifting weights is going to build muscle mass and it's going to make you stronger. Cardiovascular training, it's in the name. It's going to strengthen your heart. And then if you do any type of Pilates or flexibility training, it's going to also burn a bit of calories, but it's going to mainly increase your mobility, flexibility, or strengthen the stabilizer muscles in the case of doing Pilates.
Yeah, and it just, again, it comes down to your goals. What do you 100% want to achieve as your main goal? And it doesn't mean you can't do the other things around them, but I tell my clients, it's kind of like adding the icing on a cake and the cherry on top. It's decorating it, it's adding that extra little zazz to it, but it's not going to actually build the cake. So it's about focus. Another analogy right there. It's about really focusing on the goal. And again, what vehicle is going to help you get there? Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah, I like that.
That's great. So once people have found out the type of exercise they want, so maybe they want to lose weight, which they're going to do through their nutrition, through a calorie deficit, And then maybe they wanted to build a bit of muscle and increase their heart health. So they're going to do strength training to increase their muscle mass. And then they might do some sort of cardio, or they might do some sort of circuit training to improve their heart health. What are the next mistakes that they might make when they're trying to get on their fitness journey?
Definitely sticking to the basics. And I feel like we've really tapped into that right now with this conversation. And do you find that a lot of your clients struggle to stick to the basics and they try to go too advanced too quickly?
Yep. We all know those all or nothing people. And if I'm honest, I'm probably one of them as well, where
we definitely are.
I'd set a goal.
Let's go!
And then I get a piece of paper out and I write the most complex science-based plan that's going to get me there.
No, for me, I wake up in the middle of the night if I'm trying to fall asleep, I'm like, I want to change my whole life right now. And I get the notepad out. I'm like, my whole life is going to change tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of thing.
So why do you think that that's a mistake? Why should we not do that?
Look, we don't have to go too extreme with things. The thing that people struggle with is just being consistent.
Yeah.
And people think, they ask us all the time. I don't know if you get this from your clients, but people ask me when they first start is, come on, Mel, tell us seriously, how are you and Janos maintaining how you look, how you feel all the time? And I always tell them the same thing. It's sticking to the basics, but being consistent. We are not special people. Well, we are, but we're not different to anyone else. We're just very good at following through on the plan and being consistent. We don't have a different program to other people. We don't have the secret sauce that knows a different nutrition plan that anyone else knows. We follow the same things you guys are doing, but it's just that we follow through. And when we make a mistake, we are very good at getting back on track. And that really leads into a great analogy number 2 that Janos always tells his clients, but I love it. And a lot of our clients will know this analogy. So do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, the tires.
The tires.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say that you probably say this one more than me.
I only say it because I stole it from Janos, and this is evidence that I stole it, because I remember when we were dating, he told me this, and it must have been with something that I was trying to improve in my life when we were dating, and he told me this, and I was like, I must marry this man. This makes so much sense in my head. And what it's about is just, for example, if you're driving down the road and one of your tires pop, right? You don't get out of the car and go, oh man, one of the tires pops. I might as well pop all of them. You fix that tire, you get right back on track and keep continuing down the same road. And that comes down to the all or nothing mindset, the sticking to basics of going, okay, even if I make a mistake, which we do, I'm going to fix the tire, fix the problem, and just get right back on track. The next meal, the next workout, the next day with my sleep, whatever it is, I get right back on track and continue down the pathway.
No, I really like that. I find as well, when you understand what the basics are, because a lot of people don't understand the basics. So we're going to do future episodes that will teach you exactly how to lose weight, exactly how to build muscle.
Yeah, a very specific episode.
Yeah, the principles behind doing those things. Because the thing is that masters never stop doing the basics. They simply build on them, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they're like, oh, no, I'm more advanced than that. I don't need to follow the basic principles. And it's like, no, you don't understand. The basic fundamentals, the basic principles is what you need to master first.
Yes.
And then you don't forget the basics. You don't forget the basic principles. You build on those foundations to start doing more and more advanced things. But as life starts to get a little bit more chaotic, maybe your time availability goes down, maybe you can't stick to your crazy 7-day program that you've created for yourself, that's where you need to understand what are the foundations and can I bring it back to those foundations and just start simple. So if it's like strength training, the biggest mistake I see for people is that they pick a type of program that's way beyond their commitment level.
Yeah, 100%. When clients come to us and we're like, whenever a client starts, we ask, how many days would you like to train per week? They're like, 6 days, Mel, 6 days.
Always.
I'm like, from 0 to 6, okay.
I always like to ask them too,
Of course,
is that because you want to train 6 days? Or is it because you think that's what's required to get your goals?
That is a great question. Yes. And everyone thinks that. They go, I must be in the gym every single day, where some of our best clients, first of all, train from home, but also train 3 days a week.
Yeah. And it allows more room, because I always ask them that question is like, okay, if I could wave a magic wand and get you those same results in less days per week, would you prefer that? Or do you actually want to do the 6 days?
Yes.
And so that's where if they have multiple goals, like they want to build muscle, they want to improve their cardio health, they want to lose fat, then there's a lot of different types of exercise you're going to need to do to be able to increase your cardio and lose fats, right? So that's where if we reduce the number of days that are committed to building the muscle, once they realize that they can, they're like, okay, great. So if I can build the muscle in 3 or 4 days a week, That then opens up those other days to then start doing a form of cardiovascular training.
Yes. That's what we were doing in our marathon training. So I'm someone who likes to train 5 days a week. The reason I like to train 5 days a week is it keeps me in the mindset of my athlete mindset, Melissa, if that makes sense. So I know if I'm only training 3 days out of the week and there's 4 days that I'm not training, my old habits start to come through, where if I'm training 5 days out of the week, that only gives me 2 days to kind of be more relaxed, to reset and to go again. So it keeps me in that loop. But I think it's about just focusing on like what season of life you're in. So when we were doing the marathon, I reduced those days and I went down to 3 days of training. I didn't lose any muscle mass. I was able to do rehab training at the same time because of an injury, but I was also able to run 3 times a week. Some of our runs being 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But we did not burn out. We were actually able to maintain a lot of our muscle mass and achieve the goal of marathon training at the same time. So it's just focusing on the season you're in and realizing if you're a busy mum, if you've just gone through a busy period of like Christmas, for example, it's not about going from 100 to back to 0. It's about going, okay, I have to adapt. What is something I actually can commit to in this current season that I'm in? And then when I have more time, I can commit a little bit more.
Yeah. And it's like the number one foundation that you need to build to achieve anything is showing up.
Yes.
Right? If you're not showing up, if you're not putting in the practice, you're not going to get the results. And this is where, I went back to uni, did a Master's of Exercise Physiology to really understand more about program design and how to create, the optimal science-based workout and everything like that, right? But then I started to realize when I was giving it to all my clients, I was giving them the most science-based workouts, a whole list of exercises to do because it's the best way to strengthen their bodies, build muscle mass, rehab their shoulders. They weren't doing it.
Yes.
And that's when I started to realize, wow, okay, I just need to find a program that they will actually do. And because they'll actually do it, they'll actually get better results than if I gave them the best science-based workout, but they weren't able to fit it.
That's a great point.
And so that's changed my program prescription a lot once I started to coach a lot of clients and realize, okay, you know what? Adherence is everything.
Yeah.
Like whatever type of goal you have, figure out what the minimum version of that goal is. And for example, the other day, I went to go for a run, but then I started to run out of time. I didn't have enough time to go for a full-on run. So I literally just went out and did a 5 to 10 minute run. And it felt amazing because I finished that run. I had heaps of energy in the tank. I felt like it lifted up my mood. And then it reinforced, my identity of like, okay, you know what? I'm hitting my goals. You know what? I'm building into the person I want to be.
I think that's why
year.
You came in. I remember him coming back into the house, feeling really proud that he did it. Not because it was the most, not because it was the most perfect run in the world or the longest run. It was that he still did it, even though he ran out of time to do the run that he first intended to do. He still did it. He still showed up, and that kind of enforced the identity of I am someone who shows up. I am someone. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And like. Coming back to looking at the habits, like building the habits before you go too advanced, I think it's really important to stick to the basics. And with our new clients, when they're wanting to train 6 days a week, just because they think that's what gets results, we just want to break the myth right now on this podcast that you don't need to move your body every single day to get incredible results depending on your goals. You just need a good plan and you need to stick to it for a long period of time. So for example, a lot of our clients are like, Mel, I should do 10K steps, right? Like I've seen it everywhere, put 10K step habit on my app. And I'm like, you know what? You're only getting 1,000 steps a day. Let's start with building to 2,000 and let's build 1,000 as we go. Instead of going into a massive jump, it's going to be way too extreme too quickly and you're going to get way too overwhelmed. Let's build those habits.
And potentially get injured.
100%.
Like going from 0 to 10K steps, like your calves, your Achilles, your tendons, your ligaments, your legs can't deal with that if you've been doing 2,000 steps a day on average.
Yeah, think about our marathon. When we started training for our marathon, I was like, how am I going to run 42 kilometers? I just don't understand that. We were running max 5K at that stage. And if we just ran 42 kilometers that day, we would have died. But
we had shin splints and Achilles pain.
I had
plantar fasciitis at the start.
I had so many knee injuries. But we just built on it. We built slowly. We made sure we followed our plan. And eventually we were running 42 kilometers like it was easy.
Yeah.
I remember I was going for a quick run this morning and I'm like, that's 30 kilometers, Melissa. You sound like one of those weird people.
And if you are starting with an injury right now, you might think, oh, I have to wait till it's fixed before I can start. But Mel and I actually trained for and we got rid of all of our aches and pains whilst training for the marathon.
Yeah.
Because essentially what we did is we figured out, okay, you know what? I've got plantar fasciitis. I had shin splints. I don't have it anymore because I trained out of it.
Yeah.
Because what I did was I figured out, okay, at what kilometer mark does it start to come on? Once I started to feel the pain, I looked at my watch, stopped there. It was at 3Ks. And then I just started with that first so that I wouldn't flare up my injuries and just keep ignoring it because it doesn't get better.
That's also another form of consistency though, where you're able to humble yourself to go, no, I have to stop here and be consistent with this injury. Your mind wants to keep going. Your body's going, stop. And you have to listen to that. So I was really proud of us for really learning how to be humble and to go, you know what? I'm a personal trainer. I should be able to just do this and have no injuries. But we're all human. And we had to learn to really build ourselves up from, we used to be this capacity, now we're back down here and we're going to build up slowly. And we treated ourselves like we do our clients, starting from day one and building up slowly and sticking to the main basic habits.
Yeah, no, I love that. So just start with what you can do and then build on that. Because showing up is the foundation to hitting any goal and fulfilling any routine you put into your life.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Now there's another mistake that a lot of our clients make, and especially with what's in the air right now with the New Year's, and you've probably set your goals after our podcast last week, and now you're feeling excited, but guess what? We're all back, or most of us are back at work. We're kind of easing into the year, and most of us are feeling like, oh, like I'm overwhelmed already with these new goals. Why? I was so excited last week and now I'm overwhelmed. The reason that this is happening is probably due to the mistake that most people make, and it's allowing your old identity to take over. Just because you've decided that you want to change your life doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. Your brain is still living with the same habits, the same kind of schedule that you used to have, right? So you have to learn how to fight against the old identity of yourself every single day. It doesn't just happen with a vision board. It doesn't just happen by putting it in your calendar. We both have to wake up every morning and decide to be the best version of ourselves every single day. So for me, for example, even to this day, my natural Melissa, like my natural identity, wants to wake up, eat a whole block of chocolate, don't judge me, and watch Gilmore Girls all day in my pajamas. My brain tells me I want to do that. It doesn't want to go out for a 6 a.m. walk. It doesn't want to get into the gym. It doesn't want to meal prep and, nourish my body with good food. But I have to always remind myself of my future identity. Now, I'm not going to become her tomorrow, the next day, but in the future, everything I'm doing today is going to create her. So I'm always reminding myself, okay, like if I get in for this workout right now, I may not have the glutes that I want yet, but these hip thrusts that I'm doing, if I compound those over time, they will eventually get to that version of me that I want to be. And eventually that identity is who I become. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love the way that you phrase that as well, because I remember reading the book Atomic Habits. We both have actually.
Great book.
I think
Great
that's where
recommendation.
You got that from. But I love in that book how he talks about that it's kind of like voting in a president or voting in the new identity of yourself.
I love that point.
So when you set goals, you're essentially trying to vote in a new president who does those things in your life.
And we don't like the new president. Right? They're annoying.
No, we like the new president. We don't.
No. The old president
of course,
is going, who do you think you are, trying to be better than me?
Yeah, trying to take over office here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So essentially when you're trying to vote in a new identity, you're trying to vote in a new president, but the current president, the current identity you have doesn't do those things.
Yes.
And so the book talks about Atomic Habits, that every habit or every action you take is voting either for the current president. If you just swipe on TikTok, swipe through Reels, don't go for the run, eat whatever food you want, you're voting in the current version of you who is currently in office. And we don't like that person because we don't like how we're feeling. We don't like how they're running our body essentially.
Yeah.
We want to vote in the new president. So what we need to do is we need to stop casting votes for the current person in office.
Yeah,
and
get
we need
rid of
to start
them.
posting votes.
We don't want you in here.
For the new one. We've got to vote in the new one. So that's why when you're doing things that seem pointless, like my 5-minute run that I did the other day, it's not pointless because I'm putting a vote into the right identity.
Yeah, how would they show up today? And a lot of my clients, like I had a new client start the other day and I was telling her that. I was like, you know what, you've got to show up as the fittest version of yourself today. And it's going to feel very foreign. You're going to feel like you're faking it, but we have to fake it till we make it, until we become that person. Because I know for myself, my identity, I know when people look at me, they know I am a consistent, disciplined person. They know me going for walks and meal prepping is normal. If I bring my meal prep to like someone's house on a day that I am tracking, no questions are asked because they know that's a part of my identity, right? But I know when you're starting this journey, you're going to be like, that's so weird. Like I always come to my sister's house. She's going to think I'm so weird, or my friend's house. They're going to judge me, but you're showing up as that person. And eventually no one's going to think anything. And if anything, you should not, that's a whole nother topic, not caring what people think. But I want you to learn how to show up for yourself to the point where it's like, I've become that person, and eventually that old identity, that president, no longer exists.
Yeah, you just leave them behind.
Leave them behind. We're leaving them behind in 2025, and we are becoming this new identity in 2026. A really good quote I like to go by that kind of ties into this is following your plan and not your mood. I tell a lot of my clients this quote. It's from Layla Hormozi. I love her. And she's such a boss woman. And her identity to me is like CEO, showing up, like doesn't have an all or nothing mindset. She just goes all in. Like, I just love it. And anyway, I feel like that mindset is really good in this area because for me personally, my identity, I just have to follow the plan. I don't focus on my mood. My mood when I wake up is go back to bed, Melissa, be the old self, watch Gilmore Girls. But my new identity is always like, we don't care what you're saying. We're going to follow the plan that she's meal prepped. We're going to follow the training program that's in your Probody training app. We're going to go on the walk that you've scheduled into your calendar with the color-coded pink color. And we're going to follow that plan and we're going to get results. So always remind yourself that you're not always going to feel like it, but as long as you follow the plan that you've set or someone set for you, you will succeed eventually and become that future version of yourself that you want to become.
Yeah, and this is a whole nother topic that we'll have to cover another time.
Another episode.
Yeah, but essentially like when people want to be confident, right?
I know
Confidence comes from believing in yourself. But believing in yourself comes from your past, your history. You have evidence of you following through and doing things when you said you were going to do them.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to do it, but you did it anyway. So you become confident. You have self-belief that, okay, you know what? When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to follow through. I'm confident I will.
Yeah.
Because I know I can do it.
Sorry to interrupt you there. We all have that friend, right? That is either always late or like, bails at the last second. And their identity is someone who doesn't show up and you can't really rely on. And like that, I kind of think about that sometimes where I want to make sure my word is always my word.
Yeah.
If I say I'm going to do something, I want to be known as someone who is going to be there, who's going to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys have that for other people.
Yes.
But self-belief, self-confidence is when you say you're going to show up for yourself, not for somebody else. Are you going to show up for yourself? Like when you said you're going to go for that run, 5 a.m. in the morning, did you get up and do it?
Yes.
When your program says that you're going to do a workout today, even if you can't do the program, like fully, maybe you can't do the whole workout, did you still go and show up and do that? Because when you show up for those things that you're struggling to fit into your calendar, that you're struggling to do, the harder the thing is that you end up showing up for anyway, the more it builds your self-belief, the more it builds your self-confidence, because you start to realize, oh, you know what? I actually start to believe myself, self-belief, when I say I'm going to do something. You know what? When I said I'm going to start the diet Monday, I know I'm going to do it because I got evidence in the past now of me following up, showing up and doing it. But for those of you who don't have self-belief, you don't have like confidence right now, and you don't believe in yourself, it's because you have this evidence of the past, of the current president who you don't like, who doesn't show up. They don't keep their promises. They say they're going to do something, they don't do it. They say they're going to start the diet, they don't do it. They don't follow through. And so you need to now get rid of that president, get them out of here, vote them out. And then with your habits, you need to start to give your brain evidence of when you are showing up for yourself, when you are keeping promises to yourself.
Yeah, great.
And then now I've got self-belief, not because I'm just saying affirmations in the mirror and I don't believe those affirmations, but now I actually believe my word when I say I'm going to do something because I literally have evidence from last week, last month, last year of me following up, showing up for myself and following through.
That's a great point. That reminds me of when we were training for our marathon. There's no point us saying in the mirror every morning, we are marathon runners, we are marathon runners. I'm all for affirmations and positive self-talk. However, we didn't go into the marathon day nervous. It was kind of like completing the last step of the marathon. We did all the work to get there. And I remember thinking, 42 kilometers, let's just get this done. That is insane. So affirmations won't get you there. It's about having that proof and identity that you have done all the work to be that person who achieves that goal. That is a great point. We actually have, I have one of our incredible clients whose main struggle right now is being the person who can maintain the results that she gets. She loses weight, she's consistent, and she always reaches the same point of her journey and then gives up. So our new goal is focusing on being the person who, when you lose the weight, when you become really consistent after 8 weeks, how do we maintain that? And it's really interesting when you start to learn where people's belief systems are at, and they get to those certain points and go, oh, okay, now it's time to retreat back and go back to my old self. And it's like, stop, no. Let's keep going with this new identity. Just because it's new and it's scary doesn't mean it's the wrong path to go down. So
I think that's where you need to reframe what you're doing too. Because it comes from that mindset of, I'll do this, I'll follow the plan to get my goal. But once I get my goal, I'm going to give up on the plan. I don't need to exercise anymore. Once I lose the weight, I'm going to stop exercising. Once I lose the weight, I'm going to stop eating healthy food.
Yeah.
You need to reframe it. You need to flip things to be like, okay, you know what? I need to start enjoying the mundane. I need to start enjoying the healthy, nutritious foods. I need to start enjoying the feeling of working out, because you start to love what it's doing for your body.
Yeah, I think that's why we are able to be so consistent, is because we genuinely enjoy the lifestyle we live. I don't always want to get into the gym. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah.
But I love the feeling of completing a workout. I've never left the gym going, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I love the feeling of going to bed and knowing, oh, I don't feel bloated. I feel so nourished. Like, we have really good, healthy food. It's not like it's chicken and broccoli. We actually nourish ourselves well, and we still have fun things in our diet. Like, we have a very good balance, and I think that's the key, is really making sure you enjoy it and romanticize this entire journey.
Yeah. And it's a skill. Like, learning to love healthy food is a skill, because as you start eating it and as you start doing those healthy habits for your body, you need to start reprogramming your brain, right? You need to start linking it to the outcome that you're working towards. So then as you do those workouts and you feel those muscles start burning, you need to start telling your brain, oh, I love this feeling of the muscles burning, because it's strengthening my bone density.
Yeah.
It's building my muscle mass. It's going to help me to have a faster metabolism. So you start to link that thought of like, this is getting me to where I want to be, or this is helping maintain my amazing physique I love. So then you keep coming back and like reaffirming coming into the gym and doing the workouts. Or if it's nutrition, even though you may not like the foods yet, as you start to eat those healthy foods, you need to start reprogramming your brain with the thoughts you're having as you're eating those foods, to, as you're eating them, every mouthful you're having, be like, you know what? I love the way this food is making me feel. I love the way this food is cleaning up my skin. Or I love the way this food is helping me to lose weight and maintain my amazing physique. Because then it's going to reprogram your thoughts about the exercises, the habits, the things you're trying to implement into your life, which is the secret to being able to maintain things lifelong. Like, once you get lean, you can't stop doing the things that got you there, right? If you want to maintain it, of course you can start to eat more food again because you're no longer trying to lose weight, but you need to have become that person who enjoys exercise now. And I know you might not be able to think that right now because you're sitting there like, you know what, I hate exercise, I hate eating healthy food, I hate all those things.
Yeah, if you're watching this and eating a bag of chips right now, put them down.
Yeah. I'm kidding. No, but it's all about having the balance. Like, that's what the Pro Body Lifestyle is. Yeah. It's about learning to focus on doing the things that get you to the person that you want to be, learning to love those things, but then still having that 80-20 rule. Right?
Yeah, 100%. My new client the other day came in and she was amazed by me telling her that I track ahead of time my chocolate into our Pro Body training app, especially on my period week, because I'm like, I know I'm going to want extra chocolate on those weeks. I track it ahead of time so I can work my nutrition around those calories and save room for them. They're like, wow, you can do that? I'm like, you can lose weight with, you know, that's a whole nother topic we can go into, but it's just about focusing on that 80-20 rule, not just with nutrition.
What is that? What did you tell her the 80-20 rule is?
Oh, great question. The 80-20 rule is what we follow, and it's eating 80% of nutritious food for your body and making sure you're energized with good nutrition, but 20% of it is for your mental health. It's that fun food. It's the chocolates. It's going out with friends. It's making sure that you're still enjoying those fun coffees and things every single day. Because otherwise, if you go too hard too quickly and get rid of all the things that, you know, make us happy. Chocolate makes me so happy. I look forward to my coffees every single day. If I got rid of those, there's no way I would stick to the nutrition that I stick to. There's no way I would want to get into the gym. Like, It's about having that balance, but not having it balanced as 50-50, because that's where people go wrong.
Yeah.
It's about going, look, there's 20% of this just being some fun things in there, but it's also about going, but 80% of this, and that's why that reframe of mindset is really good. I don't look at that 80% and go, oh, but this is all the yucky food. I'm like, oh, this is actually the best food for me. This is the food that's going to energize me to lift heavy in the gym, to feel good in my everyday life and not feel fatigued. I know a lot of people feel fatigue every day. I don't feel that because 80% of my food fuels me. And it's like me, instead of putting unleaded, is it the green unleaded, 98 or whatever it is, instead of putting that unleaded or E10 in my body, I'm putting premium petrol in this body and a little hint of the unleaded, the green one.
Yeah. I like to simplify. I actually use the same rule with my clients. So when I set their calorie goals, I tell them that, hey, look, this is your calorie goal. This is your budget you can stick to. But I want you to consume 80% of the foods. I want to be healthy, whole foods, meaning foods that are not packaged. So eating foods that are not junk food. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
We know what section of Coles and Woolies it is.
Exactly. And then I say, so 80% of the time, 80% of your foods, your calories, come from the healthy things. Then 20% of your foods, if you want to, you don't even have to, can come from junk food, can come from processed food. Because I like to always tell them this quote, that you become what you do majority of the time.
Yes.
Not the exceptions.
Yeah.
Right? So if majority of the time you show up for your workouts, you do them, you train hard, you eat healthy foods, then that's who you're going to become. Mm-hmm. But if majority of the time you eat junk food and you don't work out and you do that, and the exceptions, the 20% is that you eat healthy food and you train and exercise, well, then you've got that ratio flipped. And so that's why you want to vote in that new identity you're aiming for, which is the type of person who achieves the goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah, just like one salad isn't going to help you lose weight. One Big Mac is also not going to make you put on weight. It is what we do majority of the time. And majority of the time, we are very healthy individuals. Yes, we have our moments, but we're very good at getting back on track to that 80%. What's another mistake or a very big or simple key mistake that people make that you find has a big impact on their fitness journey?
Well, I think the biggest mistake, like one of them, we've gone through a few of them, but one of the biggest ones is the inability to have patience.
Great point.
Right?
Yeah.
Too many of us in today's, society, we have lost the skill. It's a skill of delayed gratification, of putting in the work and not seeing the results until they start to come a few weeks later. So I find a lot of my clients, they might even start, well, not my clients, they're amazing. But
our clients are perfect.
No, they're not all perfect. Sometimes they have moments too. Sometimes we have moments. But the inability to stick to something and see the delayed gratification come later.
It's hard because we live in a world of instant gratification. We can order anything online. Everything comes to us really quick with that dopamine hit from social media. But it is learning to go, I have to be okay with the uncertainty. What I find when I call a lot of my new clients, what they struggle with is, but what if I get into the gym, work hard and go down this nutrition plan? What if it doesn't work out and I've put all this work in and it didn't pay off? But that's where, having someone lead you and guide you really helps along the way.
Yeah, and we all know people who do that, right? It's not that it's pointless, but it's just that they may not have seen the results that they wanted to see. Like we've all got friends and family who have been in the gym 5-6 years and they still look the same. They haven't built the muscle they want. They haven't lost the weight they want. And it's just because they don't know the underlying principles that they need to be doing to hit that. So it goes back to what we talked about at the start. Like number one, you got to have the right plan and the right type of exercise to achieve the goal you're trying to achieve. And I find a lot of people, they just go to the gym with a hope plan, kind of walking in there like, okay, great. They've built that foundation of showing up. They're probably more consistent than most people.
That's step one. That's a really good step to achieve.
Yeah. But then the reason they're not seeing the results that they want is because they're doing the wrong thing. So if they're doing random workouts, they're getting random results.
Yeah, just because you go to the gym and have a PT doesn't mean you're automatically going to lose weight, everyone. Make sure you actually are following through on that plan. But no, patience is probably the best skill you can develop, not just for the gym and your health journey, but in all areas of life. Because like I said before, we live in that world where you can instantly get anything. We can order on Amazon and it comes the same day, which is insane. And I'm always just trying to remind myself that anything worth having should be hard. And anything I look back in my past that I've achieved that has made a massive impact on my life, it has always been the thing that has been a really hard journey for me to go down. And it's gone against all of my old identity kind of habits, but it's always paid off. So I always try to remind myself, if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel uncertainty, it's actually a really good pathway to be going down. I just need to keep going. And I think you've said this quote before, and it's, as long as you don't quit, you will eventually win. Is that you or someone else I've heard that from? But it's a great quote because I'm always trying to remind myself, if I haven't won yet, it just means that I haven't done all the work yet. I've got to keep going, and eventually I will quit. That's where people go wrong.
If
they
you don't
give up.
stop, you can't fail.
Yeah, people give up too quickly when they were just about to crack the wall to get to that gold. Just keep going. But if you feel though like you're seeing no progress at all, like you should have those small little wins along the way that are leading to a big goal.
Yeah.
If you're not having any progress, that's when you need to stop, reevaluate and go, oh, wait a second, maybe I am doing the wrong vehicle to get to that path. Maybe I need to readjust here. So that's where learning from others is really important.
And that's where if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know where, like the plan essentially to make it forward, if you haven't ever achieved what you're trying to do, that's where it does make sense to get a coach, or it does make sense to hire somebody who does know essentially the principles you need to follow. They do know the plan that they can lay it out for you to help you get there.
Because I feel like we all know what we need to do. For example, in the gym, we know to lose weight, we need to eat less, or most of us know this. We need to eat less, move our bodies more, and be consistent, right? But the thing that most of us struggle with is accountability. And that's why if you do invest in a coach, it is good because they're teaching you the accountability in order to achieve those goals and keep you on track. But they're also helping you get through the barriers that keep stopping you from achieving those goals. We all have those random barriers. Some of us emotionally eat. Some of us self-sabotage when we get to a certain point. So having someone by your side, like an accountability partner we spoke about last week, or a coach, it's good to be like, hey, we're going to help you and get you on the track, and then we're going to let you go and you can keep running. Yeah?
Yeah, I always like to say the analogy of like, when you're first trying to build a new habit, you need external accountability first to develop internal accountability.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mel, when you were younger, you didn't just love brushing your teeth, right? You needed the external accountability of Randell.
Shout out Randell again.
Right? Forcing you to brush your teeth and keeping you accountable to it until you developed the internal motivation, the internal accountability to be like, oh, you know what? I've reprogrammed it now. I actually enjoy the feeling of having clean teeth. Like, I don't like when they feel furry. I don't like the bad breath that I have.
Yeah, it's automatic now. I don't even think about it. You get up, you brush your teeth, and you go along. You don't even think about the result of it anymore.
Yeah, and so I always tell people when I'm first starting with them that that's essentially our goal for you as your Probody Lifestyle coach, is that we're here to help coach your lifestyle, to give you the roadmap, to give you the plans, to help hold you accountable with external motivation, external accountability, because you haven't developed the internal accountability yet. And you don't know what you need to do to achieve the goals.
Yes.
And so we help you do that. We create a roadmap for you. We adjust the roadmap based on how you're going. And if you're not progressing, we don't just keep persisting, but we change the plan to make sure that it's adapting to your progress or lack of progress.
Yeah.
And then through that external accountability through your coach, you then develop internal accountability. You develop the knowledge, you develop the principles and the habits to be able to keep, making this go for the rest of your life, essentially.
Yeah, you become the person who shows up. You become the person who actually trains 3 times a week and inspires others to do the same. You don't just wake up one day and become that person. You over time you become that person, and you're, voting in that new president. Yeah. It's a great point.
Well, I think that was a pretty good podcast today. Pretty
packed. Look, we don't want to brag, but that was pretty good, right? We're humble over here.
Yeah, we are. But guys, honestly, please give us feedback. We loved all of your comments on the first episode.
Yes.
If you haven't set your New Year's goals yet, please listen to the last episode where we go through our process of setting goals that actually get done. And guys, what should we tell them as they go into this week?
Make sure you live the Probody lifestyle.
That's it. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.